Hi guys, welcome back to the Big Sew Along. I'm Ginny and today is Japants Day. We are talking about making the japants, which are a pattern recipe from Nani Iro of Nani Iro. But before we get to that, I'm going to talk about a couple of things from last week. First of all, a little update on my Arthur pants. I haven't done anything with them yet. I mean, I did actually. I took the side seams apart and cut them down a little bit because I think the only way that fabric is going to work is in a less voluminous pant. But I'm really more looking forward to just making the Arthur pants over in a linen, which I know I'm going to love. Aside from that, I wanted to thank everybody who commented on my video last week. I had a lot of funny comments and a lot of very encouraging comments. Yes, those pants do look like they're made out of craft paper, and no, washing them even with rocks is not going to help make them any better, but I appreciate the suggestions. Okay, also, Goat Gal and Roxy have both asked about the layer up collection of patterns from So Different UK. I have not made any of those patterns yet. I am very interested in making several of them. As soon as I get to that, I will share it with you guys. And also, Louisa commented on my Taco magazine comments from last week and probably, I think, a month ago when I did the first one. Louisa says that their headquarters are actually in Helsinki and Berlin. So, there you go. Thank you very much, Louisa. I don't know why I was having such a hard time figuring that out. It's like I couldn't, I don't know. Anyways, okay. Japants. Let's talk about these really quickly. First of all, as I said, this is, I found this pattern on the Nani Iro website. It is not actually that easy to find there. But I will leave a link directly to this pattern for you guys below. I left it a couple weeks ago, but I'm going to leave it again today so you guys can find it more easily. I have made this pattern several times. I'm going to put pictures up here of the ones I have. And I'm wearing the third pair that I had in my wardrobe today. I'll put pictures of those up there too. These were the ones that were in the laundry last week. Okay. What do I want to say about these patterns? I've made this pant several times. I have made it almost exclusively in linen, although the ones I'm making today in the tutorial are a linen cotton blend. And I believe the white-ish or off-white ones are also a linen cotton blend, but those are really heavyweight. I have made them in a tropical weight wool, which worked really well, and I'm pretty sure those are the only fabrics that I've used so far. I don't really see an issue with these being made in like a nice like medium weight cotton for a spring or summer pant. Much like the Arthur pants, I think a stiff fabric is probably not your best choice. These pants are really simple make. The way this pattern works is you go to the Nani Iro website and you find her recipes and you click on one and you get like this one little piece of paper that is essentially a diagram with measurements, so you can draft out your own pattern. Okay, so a couple of things are that Nani Iro is Japanese, and these are directed at the Japanese market. Most people in the Western Hemisphere tend to be bigger all around. So I have altered this a little bit to fit a larger frame. These pants, I believe, are called, on her website, the English name for them is like a men's slim pant or something. And I mean, you can see just from size that's just from like length that you're going to need to make some alterations. So what I've done, long way to say this, what I've done is giving you guys a tutorial with some dimensions. So you can, I want you to have the Nani Iro pattern, but you don't really need it to make these pants because I'm going to give you dimensions right now. The things you need are your hip measurement, which in this pattern, we're really going to call our waist measurement. It's the same. Your hip and your waist are going to be the same. That measurement is your hip circumference divided by 4 plus 2 inches. Hip circumference divided by 4 plus 2. Mine comes to 12 inches. you're going to need the crotch length. And in order to get that, I'm just going to show you, just in the tutorial, I show you how I used a different pair of pants to establish the crotch length, okay? You're going to need the total length, which is where the waist is to where you want them to end. Don't include the waistband or the hem because we're going to add those in the pattern. So bottom of the waistband to the hem is to the bottom of the pants is the length you need. And then you need your calf circumference measurement. For the pattern, you want your calf circumference divided by 2 plus 3/4 of an inch. Mine comes to like 8 3/4 of an inch or something like that. So I rounded mine up to 9. Again, this is pretty, this is a pretty simple pattern, and it's meant to be pretty baggy, obviously, and loose. It's a drop crotch. It's got, if you add the 2 inches, the waist measurement, that extra 2 inches we had in there, gives you a total of 8 inches of ease. So it's a pretty, you know, it's not a fitted pant. You don't have to worry a lot about the crotch curve or waistband shaping or anything like that. So it should be pretty simple. Okay, so now we're going to go to the tutorial for drafting this pattern, and then I'm going to go right into sewing the pattern, and then I'll come back and talk some more. Okay, before we start drafting our pattern, we need one more measurement, which is our crotch length. And to get that, I took a pair of pants that fit me, and I lay them as flat as I can, like that. And I'm going to lay a straight edge at the bottom of my waistband. So I'm just laying this right there, just at the top, the bottom of my waistband, so right here. And then I'm going to take another straight edge, and I'm going to measure from the bottom of this ruler to the top of my crotch point right here. And I can see that that's 10 inches. We're going to add 3 inches to that, but that's how we get our crotch length. That's how I'm getting it anyway. All right, so make a note of that, and then let's start drafting these pants. The first thing we're going to do is mark our total length. And mine is 31.5 inches. So make sure you guys can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to start at the top and make a little mark right here. And then I'm going to go all the way to the bottom, mark 31.5 inches right here. Okay. Now, at the top, we're going to mark our waist measurement, which on me is 12 inches, parallel to the edge of the paper. Mine is not even. Okay, now parallel to the edge of the paper, we're going to mark 12 inches over, which is right here. And while I'm here, I have an L-shaped ruler, so I'm just going to make a perpendicular line here. And I am going to go down here to the hem and mark my hem measurement, which on me is 9 inches. Now, the crotch length that we just measured, on me it's 13 inches. So I'm going to go back up here, and I'm going to, from the top edge here, I'm going to make a mark at 13 inches, which is right here. And at that point, I'm going to make another line perpendicular, parallel to this line here, 1.5 inches long. Oops. So it looks like that. Okay? Now, this is our crotch point right here. Down here at the hem, I forgot we need to make another little line straight up from this hem line. We want it to go up 2 inches, like that. Now, the way they show you to do it in the pattern directions, I think actually that they do it straight to the hem, which you can do. I like it to be a little bit straight here at the bottom, so that's why I put that 2 inch line there. If you don't want that though, you can go straight to the bottom like that. In any case, the line between your crotch point and your hem point is going to be a straight line, just like this. And then you will see on our directions, there's a little mark here that says 2.5. That's centimeters. So 2.5 centimeters is about an inch. And they're saying to put that right about in the middle of this line. So don't get crazy, just somewhere in the middle. I'm going to mark mine right about here. Now, we're going to take our curvy ruler and we're going to connect the crotch point with the hem point. Passing over that. That should just give you a really nice curve there. The next thing we need to do is put a curve in here where our crotch is. Now, they do give you measurements for this, but I just do it like this. I just put my curvy ruler in and draw it in like this. And in fact, that's usually what I do down here too, but if you want to be more specific, do it this way with the extra line. Okay, then the next thing we're going to do is at the waistband, this is our side seam. Not side seam, our side. This is the center front. This is going to be the waistband. Now we're adding a waistband here. They tell us to add 1/2 inch to the center front. So that is, sorry, to the side. They tell us to add 1/2 inch to this side over here. And we're going to taper that down to nothing at the center front. And you'll see the reason we're doing this is because we're raising the back waistband so it's 1 inch higher than the front. Okay, that's it. Now we need to just, again, we're going to disregard this line here. We're going to go around and add our seam allowances, which I'm going to use 1/2 inch. And when we get to the bottom, you're going to add your hem allowance. For mine, I want 1 inch. So I'm just going to add 1 inch straight across the bottom. Now I'm going to cut this out. And I'm going to copy it exactly. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut this again out of another piece of paper. But before I do that, I'm going to add to the front, to where my center front line is, at the waist, I'm going to put a mark at 1 inch. So I'm just adding an inch to the center. Like that. And I'm going to taper that down to nothing again at the waist over here at the side. Okay, so now I've added an inch. You'll see, so you can see now I've added an inch to the, that's going to be my center back. So my center back waistband is going to be an inch higher than my center front waistband, and they're going to be the same at the sides. Now I'm just going to cut this one out. I'm just cutting around this other pattern so I don't have to draw it all out again. And now remember, we have our seam allowances incorporated into this piece, so we don't have to worry about adding them back in. And now when you get to the top, cut on your new line. Now, before we use this, if you want to use this as 2 pieces, you can. If you're going to do that, you're going to need to add seam allowances to the sides as well, but you can totally do that so you have a front and a back separately. The way I do it, and the way I always thought this pattern was to tape these two together along the side seam, the side non-seam. So we have our center front marked over here, and I'm going to do the same thing over here and mark center back, just so we know. And now we're going to cut 2 of these. I know you're not going to be able to see this whole thing, but I have it all taped together now. So all we need to do now is cut 2 of these. I have my fabric folded double, and I'm just going to cut this. In case you are having trouble, this center line right here is also your grain line. So use that to straighten your fabric or whatever you need to do. And just cut this, cut 2 of these. Okay, we need to cut one more thing. Now we have our pants cut out. We need a waistband. If you remember from our measurements, my waist and hip measurement on these pants is 12 times 4, so it's 48. And we're going to need a ½ inch on either end for a seam allowance. So I need a strip of fabric that is 49 inches long. I'm using 1 inch elastic. So I'm going to cut a piece that is 49 inches long and 3 inches wide. So that'll be 1 inch folded over with a ½ inch seam allowance. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so again, my pattern piece is too big, but we have two pieces that look like this. Okay, that's my back, that's my front. I don't know if you can see, I have a safety pin here to mark the wrong sides of my fabric. Okay, so I have two of these that match. Let's separate these. And we're going to take the first one with right sides together. We're going to put just going to put our crotch points right together. Like that. And this is our inseam, so we're just going to pin from the crotch down to the hem. Okay, so I have those pinned together just so you can see. They look like this. Thank you, Claude. So that's one leg, that's the top, the crotch, and the leg, and the other one is the reverse. Now we're just going to go sew those two inseams together. Okay, so those are our two pant legs sewn up the inseam. Now we just need to do our crotch seam. The way I do this is, these are both right side out. I'm just going to stick my hand in one leg and go down, and I'm going to grab the hem of both pant legs, and then just pull this one over the top. So now we have one inside the other. Just make sure they're lined up properly. So now they are right sides together and inside out. And we're just going to start at one side. Let's make sure our crotch is matches first. Okay, now we're just going to start at one side, which is right here. And we're going to sew all the way around the crotch. Okay, so that's us pinned. That's what we look like. Our crotch is right there. So we're just going to sew that whole seam. Once you've done that and finished that seam, go ahead and try your pants on and make sure that the waist is hitting you roughly where you want it to be, because if you need to cut it down, now's the time to do that. Just remember when you put them on that your waistband is going to add about 1 inch to the top of that, okay? Okay guys, so obviously, well, I'm going to put some pictures of me in my japants again up here while I'm talking. Obviously I'm not showing you in the video how to do the waistband or to do the hem, because you guys already know how to do those. I almost always put an elastic waistband in this. The original pattern is drafted for a drawstring, which would just entail putting a buttonhole or two at the front of your waistband and sewing it on and then threading your drawstring through it. Either way, it's fine. I usually just, I have a problem with drawstrings always coming undone, and I find that really annoying. So I almost always use elastic. Okay. Aside from that, Go Gal and a couple of other people have asked some other questions about these. And in order to keep this video from being ridiculously long, I am going to cover a few other issues with these recipes next week, because this is not the only recipe out there. There is Nani Iro has a bunch of pattern recipes on her website, and Coca Fabrics also has a bunch of pattern recipes on their website. I will give you directions on how to find those things next week, and I will also go over how I decipher those recipes, how I make really simple alterations. They're all pretty simple recipes. There's nothing super complicated, so any alterations you do are going to be really simple as well. And then I will also go over some ideas for how the order of construction I would use to put them together. Or if I don't know, like if it's something really specific that isn't included, then that I wouldn't know, like in general, I'll give you some ideas about how to figure that out. Okay. I think that's all. Oh, it's not all. You guys, I really love these pants, and I hope you guys all make a pair. And if you do, would you please post a picture of them either on Instagram and use the hashtag japants, or post them over on my Facebook page. I will leave a link to that down below. Also, I am going to put the dimensions that I gave you at the beginning of this, the waist, crotch length, total length, calf circumference, that stuff, the numbers for that. I'll put that over on. Wow, I'm talking gibberish. I'll give you those dimensions over on the Facebook page as well, so you have them for easy reference. I clearly need some lunch. I forgot to tell you guys, I am late this week because I usually do this on Tuesdays, but we're in the middle of a massive snowstorm and I heard it coming. So I decided yesterday to get all my other work outside of the house and spend the day today making this video, since obviously I can't go anywhere today. That is it from me this week, you guys. Thank you so much, as always, for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate all your likes, your subscribes, and especially your comments. They make me laugh all week long. Until next week, happy sewing.